Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So in today's video, as you can tell by the title, we'll be talking about this concerning pattern yet again. This is in regards to the heat wave that is going on right now, starting across the Pacific Northwest, though that's not the only area that will be unfortunately affected by this. As we go further into the week, and especially into the weekend and next week, this thing will shift across the further east into the upper plains, Midwest, and eventually into the Northeast. And the anomalies that are absolutely crushing portions of the Pacific Northwest with many records will be really kept at the same intensity as it spills further eastward. Notice if I click on, say, Seattle, they are under excessive heat warning. This is very, very hot for Seattle. I mean, 94, 92, 92. You know, the Pacific Northwest usually has a stereotype of being nice and cool, and that's really usually how it is. You can see the 70s and 80s are usually the normal high, and even 80s are usually, especially upper 80s are definitely considered warm. So notice that they do have that, and again, this will continue spreading towards the east, and some of these temperatures will be much higher, where it's warmer on an average. So Nebraska, for example, they will get a lot of heat later on. Right now, you're dealing with warm weather. Actually, pretty cool. 81 is actually not bad for this time of the year. And notice this week's not really that bad, but notice by next Tuesday, 100 degrees, it really starts kicking off and becoming very warm. And that even includes some large cities like Minneapolis and potentially even Chicago. This is my area. You can see right now we are dealing with very nice temperatures, but by the time Tuesday gets, it starts warming up 85, and then potentially several even potential for 100 or two as we push into next week. So I want to show you the Gfs model. So again, this is a temperature anomaly graph. So this is basically where it is warmer than average, it is colored in red, right? So obviously where it is darker red, this is more above average, and that's why everybody's talking about this heat wave right now, because those colors are almost off the chart. So that is an extreme anomaly. Notice it is pretty cool across the Midwest. I would say enjoy while that lasts, because it may not last for a super long time. And notice that these colors are flaring up day in, day out through the weekend into Saturday and Sunday. Still chillier across the Midwest and east, so definitely not a bad, I guess, trade off for now. But again, this thing doesn't stick around for the Northwest forever, and it spills. You can see by next week we are having already average temperatures, if not slightly warmer, for a bunch of the Midwest and Northeast. And by the time we get into midweek next week, you can see Nebraska, for example, as I was showing you, South Dakota, getting very, very warm, and that keeps growing. You can see some of these anomalies are again reaching that 16 to 20 degrees above average on Celsius. So in terms of Fahrenheit, that would be even higher. Some of the thermometer readings that you'd see on your thermometer, you can see hundreds widespread, right? And in fact, in some areas there are even pockets of up to 110, and maybe even up to 115. Notice, look at that right there. And as I put this forward, let me just keep it on the 2-meter temperature shaded to show you this. During the night, the cool part of the day, you can see potentially upper 80s, lower 90s. It's absolutely, that's incredible. And notice during the day, we have widespread hundreds. Illinois, Michigan, Indiana. Again, this is more of an aggressive scenario. It's still a little bit out, but that's why I'm making these videos pretty often, to warn you about any updates or whatnot. And you can see that the strongest of the strongest anomalies will be shifting day in, day out. So you can see a couple days ago it was up here hottest. Now on Thursday it will be maybe a bit further south. Notice the Northeast, the large cities, you might not get spared from that as well. You can see on this day, August 4th, there could be widespread hundreds pretty much all across the eastern seaboard, as far north as Maine and even into Canada. I wouldn't say hundreds, but upper 90s. And New York, Boston, Philly, all these large cities, DC, you'll be pretty much, if that were to occur, easily into the hundreds right there. Notice this may seem like, oh, it's going down to the south, but look, we see a resurgence of heat that is definitely above average. Notice that as I put this forward, we see this kind of really not go anywhere, especially for these areas here. It stays here for a while, and all the plains are just absolutely roasting in ridiculous heat. And notice that this does continue to intensify. I mean, 113, 114, just really, really incredible anomalies. Notice that, again, further north, it may be a bit lessened across the Midwest and Northeast, though you can see there's definitely pockets of 90s, 80s, and this could still, or 90s, 100s, and this could still change. This could still, end up being further north. Notice Montana's pretty much on fire in terms of just widespread hundreds. Same with the Southwest right there. That definitely isn't good either. And do note that the further and further we go out, this doesn't look really that much more promising. This continues to be there, these extreme anomalies here. And just to show you that the amount of rainfall that could fall during this time here isn't the most. I mean, some areas will be getting some rain. It's just not going to be enough to just kind of ward off all the consequences from the drought. Do note, and that's just from a hydrologic aspect, right? Obviously, anything to do with heat stroke and just heat danger, that's just going to be there no matter if it's raining or not. And do note that the southwest monsoons will be pretty much firing off the whole time. So there's a lot of rain expected here, so at least that's good news. There's going to be some relief there in terms of the drought that they've been dealing with. Let's take a look now at another model called the European model, a very good model. Some people prefer it from the GFS, and that's fine. I think they're pretty much equally as good. I would say the European has a few advantages in some aspects, but let's just run this through. So notice again, right now it's centered across the south, a little dose of heat, but also across, again, the northwest mainly, and you can see this may not look ridiculous, but for the northwest, that is very, very, very warm. And again, if those same anomalies were to be across the central United States, it gets up to 115, 120, which is a possibility, as crazy as that sounds. Again, notice this thing sticks around here for quite a while across the northwest, but eventually, notice that this area here, right now, it's pretty nice, 70s, 80s, but it starts heating up as we go further and further out, right? So this is now Sunday. We're starting to get some of those 90s across the Dakotas. Now, we're starting to see a bit more and a bit more. You can see that day right there, Wednesday. I want to go back there. Look at that. That's at that point, that's a lot hotter. And here it's still warm, but you can see Seattle, you're at 76. You're something a bit more normal. And do note that as I put this forward, it continues spreading into Iowa, into Illinois, into Michigan potentially, into Wisconsin. Again, 90s. Widespread, solid, not just like 91, like 97, 98, upper 90s. And the further out we go, this doesn't really go away. And you can see that the anomalies are really pretty impressive with this. It doesn't have as extreme, I guess, as what the GFS does. But, I mean, right there, that's pretty close to being, almost 20 degrees above average in terms of Celsius. And in looking at the future, because this European model doesn't go out as far out as the GFS. GFS goes out to 384 hours, which is 15 days. This one goes out to 240. You can see that the pattern is pretty warm all throughout, and not just, in those extreme areas of anomalies, just further elsewhere as well. And again, the European isn't really too excited about the precipitation as well. Here, there's going to be some precip because you potentially actually quite a bit of it as a kind of a ring of fire pattern establishes, goes through the southwest and spins around there. But again, not really, it's just not really that much across the areas that are going to be dealing with the worst of the heat. And I want to show you the 8 to 14 day outlook issued by the Climate Prediction Center. Offices that, predict from this time frame what, I guess it could be cooler, warmer. And you can see through the 3rd through the 9th, so again, this is considered pretty long range. They have extreme confidence because this is ranked on confidence. These colors, that's 80 to 90%. They're pretty confident in that this far out. A lot of this area will be very warm. It will be cooler across the northwest at this point because, that's where they're dealing with the heat now. This is a bit further out from the 3rd through the 9th. Precip, again, the southwest being nice and wet, that's good. They need that. But anywhere further, east, it's not going to be too wet. So not good. Two things being paired. 6 to 10 day outlook, they pretty much have a 90 to 100% chance of being above average there. Elsewhere, you can see also rather confident. And again, maybe just the northwest being a bit chillier, but that's because, again, that heat is pretty much there right now, and in the next 6 to 10 days, this is what it's going to look like. And again, precipitation-wise, wet across the west, not wet elsewhere, which is good. They need that rain. They need that more. Even though, hopefully this heat doesn't stay around for too long, so it causes, crop failure across the Midwest, and really it won't take much to create crop failure at those type of temperatures. But I don't want to show you just how the precipitation will kind of fold out. Lake Mead gets its water from the Colorado River, which has a lot of its watershed up here. So if there's going to be a lot of water here, that would be better. Maybe a slower retreating water level, or maybe even a reversal a bit up. I don't know. It seems a bit optimistic, honestly, but you can see that there's going to be quite a bit of rain in some of these areas, maybe even getting 8-9 inches, which obviously would be pretty bad for landslides, mudslides. But in terms of the drought issue, that definitely isn't a bad thing. And do note that various high range models like the NAM, they only go out to 84 hours, but I could show you the anomalies that they show across the northwest because some of them are just even more ridiculous. And what the what the other models show, like the GFS. And notice this is during the daytime. We have 80s and 70s. That is absolutely ridiculous for the Southwest or for the Northwest. That's usually what you see normally on a warm summer day, let alone at night. And you can see that during the day, I mean that's just ridiculous. That's so warm. And again, it's gonna be nice and cool for the Midwest for now, but that's the key word for now. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next episode. See ya. Bye.